Hello, guys. Welcome to the second episode of SO Rhythm, also known as Esoteric Algorithm, the long version. Today's topic of discussion is going to be about a couple of things here, and I'll list them off from the very beginning. We're going to dive right into it. Trusting yourself. I know there's been so many people on so many platforms who've gone into, detail about trusting yourself, how you must do this and how you must do that. But what I find out is there's a lot of, at least as my growing within the spiritual community and trying to understand trusting myself, what exactly that means. No one really breaks it down from the beginning, from the core of how do you even do that? Trusting yourself is not something that you can just, oh, let me turn this on. If you can do that, a lot of discipline. You clearly have been working on yourself. Kudos to you, because that's where I'm trying to be, to make it to where it's just a switch, which I'm sure that will come in time. But what I mean by trusting yourself, that's all that they say. They're so vague. And then with all this things that are going on in the spiritual community, everyone wants to charge for this knowledge, this and this and that. And I respect that, because you have to pay for people's time and energy. And of course, all the years and time it took them to figure this out. If you don't look within yourself to try to bump your head and figure it out for yourself, you're going to end up paying a lot of money to a lot of different people for them to tell you their personal experience, which may not make sense to you or apply to you, or may not be the way that you learn or need to experience how to trust yourself the best, if that makes sense. So I'm going to share you guys some information with you guys, and this is all free, okay? There's no charge. My own, I'm just going to give it to you like it is. So when it comes to trusting yourself, and I'm going to speak from I don't want to say, I'm not going to speak from third person. I want to speak like I'm taught, like how I spoke to myself when going through this hard process, or this difficult process. It was, in which I feel like I'm overcoming. It's a journey, just like forgiving is a journey. But trusting myself, where do you even begin? I want to say you're going to want to begin with forgiving yourself. I know from my little journey, and everything's been a journey. So journey is just the word of, you're going to hear me say that a lot, because everything's been a journey for me. It's been a way. But I had to forgive myself, and I'm still forgiving myself. How do you trust yourself when you've made so many bad decisions that have put yourself, your heart, maybe for some of you physically, yourself at risk? It is hard to trust yourself when you feel like there's nothing to trust about yourself. How can I trust myself when I let this man, or when I let this woman, hurt me? I let them in. I invited them in my home, my body, my energy, my sacred and safe spot. My gut, everything, my family told me not to do it. And this is just not with people. This is person, place, people, or things, anything. How can you trust yourself when you betrayed yourself? When you betrayed that gut feeling that told you not to do this, or this would happen, or not to trust this person because you can clearly feel that they're up to no good, because that's all that you've seen. How do I trust myself when I've forsaken myself, when I've led myself down the wrong road? I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and cry it out. Cry it out right here, because that's heavy on the heart. A lot of people walking around here don't know where to start with trusting yourself. You have to forgive yourself. You have to take a look at, the things that have gotten you in this, funky emotional situation of confusion. And you have to realize that a lot of this mistrust for yourself is blocking you from trusting yourself, and ultimately hindering you from making good and the right and the positive decisions and choices to move forward and trust yourself for other things. How are you going to sit here and play with tarot cards and help people figure out what path they're supposed to go or help them get out the rut they're in their life when you don't trust yourself and your own intuition because you still haven't forgiven yourself from listening to yourself in the past? Does that make sense to you guys? I hope it's making sense. I'm using little examples. These are not directly for anyone, but take it and apply it to your own situation. And then how can you trust yourself when you're still tittling and tattling, going back and forth with the same woman who's betrayed your trust many times before, and you're still going back and forth with this person and then giving other people advice that you think is legitimate, but it's not, because it's coming from a place to where you don't even trust yourself. You cannot help anyone else until you help yourself. I don't think that anyone truly is thinking about what I just said and how that even sounds. A lot, like, even for me right now, like, I'm not perfect. Right now, I'm giving you firsthand of all this. I'm talking to myself right now because I've done all these things. I've mistakenly trusted women, mistakenly trusted men, mistakenly trusted things and situations to where I completely discarded my intuition because I didn't trust it anymore. In my heart, in my unconscious mind, there's a child there that's hurt. You know, it's confused and lost, don't know which way to go, because last time I made a decision, it was not a good one. And that's probably been the last 7 or 8 decisions, last 10 or 15 decisions. So how can I trust myself to leave this person alone finally? What if I'm overlooking or overanalyzing things and they're a good person? Oh, but wait, no, that's just me making an excuse to solidify me still messing around with this person, place, or thing, and not truly wanting it to let it go. Not listening to my intuition that's told me to let it go. I'm listening to the spirits around me who are watching my life and wanting to live through me and either want things to unravel good or unravel bad. Like, I need you guys to think about this. Trusting yourself. How are we going to do that? How are we going to put that into play? How are we going to put that into practice? I think, and what I've come up with, is maybe we should try just forgiving ourselves. As many times we forgive everything else and everyone else, let's push everything back. Let's strip all the things that are covering us up away and get to the nitty-gritty core of it. Forgive yourself for making the wrong decisions. Give yourself a clean slate and start over. Why can't you forgive yourself, but you can forgive all these other person, places, or things? I think we should start from there. We could sense the ill will other people wanted to do, but we chose to ignore it. And now we're hurting and can't make the right decisions right now because we knew that. And now we can't trust our own judgment. It's okay. It's okay. Let's recognize it for what it is. I know you want to just put that pride blanket on to cover you up so you don't have to feel guilty for what you did to yourself. You don't want to look at yourself butt ass naked and call yourself out. But you have to. And then after you do that, then you need to show yourself some love and forgive yourself. We cannot be out here giving advice as spiritual people, so-called spiritual people, when we're giving advice from a broken place. Just turn to yourself and you have to forgive yourself. Now, other than that, once I feel like you're in a good spot to where you've faced every situation or every situation that you could have thought of and how you've, displaced the trust for yourself, and you practice self-love, great self-talk, self-love rituals of just loving yourself. Like I was, earlier spraying rose water on my face. Get you some rose water, hydrosol, some rose water. Put a little rose quartz in there. Get you some herbs and some fruits and some incense centered around love. And take you a nice little bath. Some people need to chant to themselves in the mirror. Some people need to listen to certain songs to unleash that self-love. Or you can just do that little thing I just suggested. But ultimately, we need to get to a space to where we forgive ourselves. Let's forgive ourselves from the wrong that we've done to ourselves and for, consistently picking the wrong option. And then when you go back and you analyze, okay, how did I pick the wrong option? Where did I go wrong? I know when I've done that, I'm like, dang, I didn't listen to that first voice, or I didn't listen to that quiet voice. I didn't listen to that voice that is usually always right, that I overlook and I overskip it because there's another voice talking about, nah, let's do this. I don't feel like doing all that because that's going to take all day. Or, nah, let me speed over here, and then boom, you got a ticket. Like, let's really get down to nitty gritty of how we even overlook that. And then let's make sure it's coming from a balanced place. When you go back and you reflect, or you're about to make a big decision, are you using your right and left hand? We'll call this the right and left hand rule. On one hand, is it logical? Is it making sense analytically? Does the evidence match up? Is it making sense on a logical level? And then on the other hand, emotionally, how do you feel? How does this make me feel by saying yes to the situation or no to this situation? Let's look at the history of how me and my actions in this person. Is it trustworthy? Is this place trustworthy? Is the energy right when I walk in, or do I feel confused? Do I easily get enraged when I enter this vicinity? These are all things that you must analyze. And to analyze things, you can't do it when you run your mouth. Let's just say that. You have to shut up for a couple seconds. Let's just shut up, analyze real quick. Maybe the first couple times may take you a minute or two, maybe 5-15 minutes. But once you get it into a practice and you make it a rhythm into your everyday, a little ritual or a little meditation, whatever you want to call it, then we can start to make the right decisions based off of emotion and based off of logic, a balance of the two, not just so much of one or so much of the other. I think that's one of the issues of the kind of the world that we live in today. It's either 100% logical with no emotion of intuitive touches, or it's 100% emotional and intuitive without any logical facts and details that can scientifically or mathematically prove anything. There needs to be a balance. And then once we've done all that, then we can practice, giving advice or doing things and being physical and action driven towards things. And then we built up enough trust due to our emotions, rebuilding them by apologizing to ourselves. But also we've done that logical work. We've went back and found, here are the gaps. It didn't add up because this person has shown me nothing but this, and that, and the third. And that's why I shouldn't have trusted them that time. Again, more allegories, if that's the right word, or more examples to get you guys to think about how to make the proper decision. Well, we have to make the proper decision once we've known that we forgive ourselves, then put in practice the right way of making a decision. That's another thing. Growing up, I was not taught how to make proper decisions. Why does it have to be I have to learn through bumping my head? I think that's just something that I don't think that's true. I think that you can adopt that way of thinking and then you'll be doing that for the rest of your life. Or you could just teach yourself to be a good decision maker, to weigh everything out. But when this world moves as fast as it can, with all these things that are moving as fast as they can, making the right decision is sitting down and thinking and using your brain is kind of overlooked. So let's forgive ourselves from that, guys, and let's get on the road to where we can trust ourselves again. And I wanted to, break down that prequel right there to trusting yourself, because I wanted to show you or give you an example of where it could possibly coming from, the mistrust be coming from, just our bad decisions in the past. So once we forgive ourselves, and I know I'm being repetitive, forgive me, but I just want to really make sure I'm getting my point across. Then we can move forward in the right directions. Forgiving yourself may not look like anything you have to do to yourself. It may be things that you have to do to other people. For an example, forgiving myself can look like me setting up boundaries with other people, because I love myself enough to not let anybody walk over these things that are very important to me, or change myself for these other people, choosing me first. Pay attention to your senses. I really hope that at May of 2023 that we can say we've seen enough movies to know that there's some truth even in the fairy tales, okay? Avatar, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. All these, more than that. You ever think about, and I know this is kind of random, but I'm just trying to get that brain pumping and working, getting those little brain molecules, the electricity going. And I want to break down things that in ways that no one's broken it down, or in ways that I wish somebody broke it down for me. It would have saved me a lot of time, but hey, I'm not going to be hung up over time lost or anything. I'm doing what I need to do when I need to do it, I feel. But anyway, guys, I'm going to slowly wrap this up. Again, trusting yourself. Where do you start? Where do we start in trusting ourselves? You just hop up. Okay, I trust myself. Let's go. No. Because when you get to that moment where you have to make a decision, it's like, wait, I can't do it. You have all this burden on your back. As you're viewing the decision, you got all this shit on your back viewing the decision as well. Like, wait a minute, you can't do that way because remember what happened last time? You can't choose right because last time you went right, this, and this happened. Or you can't choose left because last time you chose left, this, and this happened. No, wipe that slate clean. Go back and put, just like you investigate your man's phone or you investigate where your girl's location is, you need to investigate why you don't trust yourself and what wrong decisions you made led you up to the point to where you don't trust yourself. And then you need to forgive yourself. Where do I start by forgiving myself? Well, a little self-care. Exfoliate. It's simple. The smallest things. It's the smallest things. How do I show myself I forgive myself? Let me wash my, I'm not going to curse. Let me wash my butt as soon as I wake up in the morning as an intention of self-love. Let me put this mask, expensive mask I got for Christmas 2 years ago on my face to get all these toxins and impurities out from all the stress that I've been dealing with at work as a micro dosage of self-care. Let me eat a salad today because I want something alive that has energy to fuel my energy and raise my overall vibration. Let me go get me some flowers. Let me drink my favorite little drink. That's what I mean. Self-love is in the smallest areas, but it'll put you on the road to trusting yourself. You want to trust yourself from a complete standpoint. And I hope that I was able to successfully explain that to you guys in this podcast. Now that's it for episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see your comments underneath and your little reactions. And I want you guys to tell me about how you forgive yourself or what practices you put in place to bring that little child out of its shell within yourself, to prove to that child that you're sorry for maybe making the wrong decisions that put it out there on a ledge. And to get that child to trust you again. And that child its name is intuition. And I guarantee you guys put these little things in place. You practice those little things. You're going to feel so loved. It's going to be so easy for you to forgive yourself for what you did not know. And then what will become clear is the little holes in the mistakes you made, which led to the wrong decisions of your past. And then from there, you'll be able to move on and make the right decisions. And I'm talking to myself too, because we're not perfect over here, okay? But we're on the road to be. So I'm sending you guys nothing but love and light and blessings and positive energy. Have a beautiful day, and thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Bye-bye.